if you could take a moment and go to thegrowingbanddirector.com to give at least $5 or $3 a month, and it helps the content continue to be created for you to help our profession grow. Let's go back to our scheduled episode. Welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast. This is episode number 251. I don't understand how it took me 250 episodes to get Missy Shabo on this podcast. Thank you for being here, Missy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. We've been teaching together for a long time, and we're going to get together and do, I think it's 27. Is that the math? 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. 27 pieces over the next 6 weeks. We're going to do 3 episodes for festival rep for concert band, right? So what do you look for when you're programming, like you have a festival coming up with your bands? Like what do you look for in pieces that you want to use to bring to a festival?
Yeah, so I mean, where the kids are at, it's important. What skills and what you're looking to teach the students. A variety of styles, composers, and introducing them to different concepts and ideas, and just starting at where the kids are at.
Yeah. Let's move your mic a little closer to you if you can. It's picking you up, but a little closer would be great. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to do 3 programs: a grade 1 program, a grade 2 program, and a grade 3 program. How much do you think about grade level when you're programming? Do you say like, hey, we have to do a 1, we have to do a 2, we have to do a 3? Or is it more about how the piece fits your kids? Or
it's definitely more about how the piece fits the kids. I mean, the grade levels, and you'll see too with pieces, like a grade 1 is not always a grade 1 and for every piece. It's not always a set standard. I mean, it's a benchmark. And when you're looking at the catalogs and looking at pieces, it's certainly something to go off by. But it's not an ends all of what we're looking to do. And we try to find pieces that will be a good fit for our students. We'll challenge them and give them exposure to a variety of different styles and things that they'll find.
And obviously you've had the students before then, so you know what they've done and kind of what they're ready for. And do you sometimes do a piece and then have to pull it because it's like too hard or too easy, doesn't fit them right? How do you know when to kind of push through something or when you might have to pull something?
I haven't done that lately. I did, last year I did a festival and we snowed out one day. And I think that was like the most recent example that I can think of that I was like, yeah, we don't have 2 days. We only have 1 day to put this together. And it's not really appropriate to do this rep for these reasons. And the kids were totally bummed about that, but it was the right choice.
I assume you and Caitlin go through a pretty thorough process when it comes to picking the repertoire you want to use. Like you don't just go, let's open the cabinet under C and go, I like this piece, we're going to do it, right?
We have like an ongoing, we have a couple of lists. We did a session at Allstate a few years ago on some reps. So that's a list that we use as an anchor. We have an ongoing list, what we think would fit our 8th graders, our 7th graders, and what could fit them in the future. And it's always changing. And and we're always ordering, new pieces at the end of the year, seeing they'll fit. Sometimes they don't fit in the fall, and we switch it up. And
I've had that happen where I order a piece thinking I'm going to do it in the fall, and then it doesn't happen, and it takes 10 years. Like we're doing that with King Across the Water this year. Like I ordered it in 2011 or something, and we're finally getting
that's a fun piece.
Yeah. We'll get to that one. All right. So the way we're going to do this is going to be 3 1s, 3 2s, and 3 3s. Again, you can mix and match any of these grade levels you like. Also, sometimes we have like a first, second, third within a program that we think will fit, but there's some flexibility within that too as well. So first piece is by Paul Murtha. This is grade 1.5. Actually, all 3 of these are considered 1.5s. Forward March. You had a chance to listen to this one. To me, I thought of this, there's like ties all over the place, which helps. And I know when I met with Terry White, he said the snare drum parts at this grade level tend to be harder than the rest of the parts rhythmically because they're kind of more advanced. So what did you think about Forward March when you listened to it?
Yeah. So this, if you're looking to teach dotted quarter rhythms or rhythms with half note tied to the 8th note, so moving kids off on the end of 2 or end of 3, this is the piece to do that. There's also a lot of articulations and styles to teach in this piece, lots of marcato accents and staccatos. So lots of articulations to teach in this piece as well.
We typically, if the piece is long enough, we'll not play the entire piece, but we'll at least give you a sprinkle of each one. All right, here's Forward March, Paul Murtha. Excelsior Music Publishing is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. With spring concert season on the horizon, Excelsior Music Publishing is proud to offer a vast catalog of inspiring concert band and jazz ensemble pieces that will be right at home on your spring programs. You'll find works by imaginative composers for all levels. Find music for your graduation and spring concerts at excelsiormusic.com. That's EXCELCIA music.com. The ballad that we're going to pair with this one is Randall Standridge's grade 1.5 called Spring.
Yep. And what's great about this piece, it's first 6 notes of the instrument. And the huge focus here is slurs and phrasing. So you can teach kids about phrasing at a younger level, only using the first 6 notes. And that's possible with this piece, and playing expressively. Percussion is busy, which I like. When you have, you're thinking of this piece for potentially 6th graders or 7th graders, your percussion section will have stuff to do. And there will be a lot of focus on watching the conductor, and as there's some expressive playing and slowing down and speeding up in this piece. There's
a little piano part too, and the rain sounds at the end. What are some things you guys do from the podium, like in rehearsals, to help with watching the conductor?
So we reinforce a rule where the kids have to look up every measure. So we'll change tempo and do different drills and whatnot where they have to watch. So we'll do, I don't know, could be long tone 1A or whatever it might be, a Remington exercise and changing tempo and getting kids to look up.
Yeah, it's nothing special. It's just doing it all the time.
Just hounding on and like being picky and not letting things go.
Even if you start with a 5-note scale and they don't move until you show the next, and at some point get to the 3rd or 4th note and stop, and see who's watching and all that. So I like this piece because it's cinematic sounding, it's kind of got that movie sound to it. The harmonies that he used, it's in B flat, but it doesn't just kind of stay with a typical chord percussion. So hope you enjoy it. Here's Spring, Randall Standridge. the third grade one that we have to pair with this is Mystic Dance by Mike Sweeney. For anybody who doesn't know Michael Sweeney, I'm not sure where you've been. But I did do episode number 150 and 151 with him if anybody wants to kind of check out his stuff and listen to him talk. So this is Mystic Dance, grade 1.5, uses rain stick and low flute, kind of a Native American sound to start.
Yep, lots of meter and tempo changes, and it's a great piece to teach the one and syncopation rhythm.
Yep. And just even the fact that it's in 3/4. I mean, for grade 1, 3/4 is a really big deal, right?
Yep.
Well, how do kids react when you first teach them 3/4?
We introduced rhythm to kids way before we put it in pieces. So the hope is there isn't much of a gut reaction to that. I mean, if you're only programming 4/4 and concert B flat, you're really limiting what you can do for kids. So we try to expose different meters and tempos and anything that you might see in a piece way before they actually see a piece of music.
So they don't think of it as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
No, I hope not.
I had a conductor friend in college who conducted in 7, and he conducted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So that'd be 8.
7. Exactly. Yeah. So, all right, using 3/4, here's Mystic Dance, Michael Sweeney. I want to thank Austin Custom Brass for being a sponsor of today's podcast. Trent Austin started this wonderful shop back in the Boston area many years ago and has moved it to Kansas City. Check out their unique line of doublers instruments that are perfect for students, band programs, and players of all ages. The Austin Custom Brass Doublers Flugelhorn is their most popular selling instrument, available in 5 different beautiful finishes. These flugelhorns come with a case in Austin Custom Brass's Fab 5 mouthpiece. The Doublers Flugelhorn offers a quality sound, playability, and affordability. Get one for yourself or your whole trumpet section today. Call Austin Custom Brass at 816-410-0826. They are located in Kansas City, Missouri, but they ship all over the country, and they're wonderful humans and great people to hang with. Austin Custom Brass works with band programs from all over the country. They can provide a bid to you today, work within your school's budget, and accept POs. Call their team today at 816-410-0826 or email at info@austincustombrass.com. Okay, so now we're on to the grade 2s. Laughing. We were doing Portrait of a Clown by Frank Kelly. 4 percussion parts. You can do it in cut time or 4/4. I think most middle school teachers would do it in 4/4, but I think the recording we're going to play is fast enough that you kind of hear it in cut time. the legato part in the middle, there's tons of ties and then moving on beat too. Like every time my wife works on it, she goes, oh, letter G, and like puts her head down because it's like the band lost to Frank Kelly on that day. So you guys have done Portrait of a Clown.
I've done it before at a previous school. There's lots of style to teach in this piece. Um, Lots of independent parts, so you need some strong counters. And I think overall with kids, they really like this piece, especially when you can play it at a faster tempo, but don't sacrifice a good quality sound for playing it too fast.
Yeah. So I love Frank Kelly's music. It's really good. We've been talking about Angels in the Architecture for other things. And yeah, a lot of the pieces I found of his just don't use as many percussionists as I have in the room. And I don't want to do his music a disservice by tripling a snare drum part or something like that. So, again, I use a lot of his pieces when I have bands where there's 3, 4, 5 percussionists. Any more than that, I typically don't use as much of his music. I don't know if people are in the same boat as I am or not, but again, the legato portion of this is definitely hardest for the kids. The legato portion, they're going to slow down, and everything else, they're going to tend to want to speed up.
Yep. I think and there's no rhythmic percussion happening during that section either. So it's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. I had a mentor once who would say it was like playing in saran wrap, like everything is just there. So I'm not sure how that helps, but all right, here's Portrait of a Clown, Frank Kelly. The ballad we're going to use a cinematic piece by young composer Tyler Grant. This is called River Poem. As you were kind of studying this piece, what did you think of it?
You need a piano player. I thought this piece is new to me. I thought it was really cool that he dedicated the piece to Brian Balmages, who is another great composer at this level. Yeah, it's a great ballad to work on tone and intonation and ensemble playing. And like I said, it's new to me, so I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, I will say it's like a 4-minute. So you're talking grade 2, a ballad that's 4 minutes. Like there's difficulty in just length, right? So I'm not sure we're gonna play the whole piece here for everybody, but there is 6 percussionists plus piano. I don't think the piano part is anything that's too nutso. It's not like a solo piano part, but definitely important. I like how he uses 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN a lot. I don't think there's any one anda in the piece at all. So kind of a good way to focus on that. And Tyler's music, he's been composing for a long time, is very cinematic sounding. Again, the chord progressions he used makes it sound pretty epic to kids. And I think they would really like it. I've played this for kids before and they think it's really cool kind of sounding piece. So here's River Poem, Tyler Grant. the third grade two we're going to put with this is Terracotta Warriors by Scott Watson.
Yeah, so this is a cool piece, and as a middle school teacher, reading the program notes in this piece, you read that to your students, and they're gonna like, oh yeah, I'm into this piece. So I'll let you folks read that on your own, but it's a great program note along with this piece. It opens with a flute solo, or actually a soprano recorder. If you have a soprano recorder, if you go back to third grades, borrow some of those recorders from the general music classroom. And percussion is really busy, and they have some really interesting parts. There's a really cool, I think halfway through the piece, a really cool call and response part with the winds, which is really neat. And there's a lot of stuff to dig into this piece. I think it's very exciting and challenging grade two. I think kids would really enjoy.
What I like about that call and response is all the woodwinds are together in octaves. It's not like just flutes or clarinets. The bari sax gets it, the bass clarinet gets it, everybody gets it, which I really like. And they're trading with the percussion section on that, and the brass kind of have these hits. Yeah, you do need 8 percussionists, sort of minimum, if you're going to do everything. A little bit about the story. Terracotta, these like clay warriors, and in the Chinese clay warriors, this is like the spirit army of the emperor in the 3rd century BC. So like when the emperor died, they like put it around the casket or the tomb or whatever. It's like supposed to defend in the afterlife and things like that. I feel like when I've worked on this, the percussion parts there's plenty for them to do, but there's not a lot of depth to them. Like once the groove starts, it's like a fairly repetitive thing. So it's good if you have a lot of players, but also and you want them to be independent, but not every part is super complicated. It's a great timpani part. Like I've had kids play timpani on this who are newer timpani players, but it plays really well. It just has the C and the G. I don't think there's any drum change or anything on that. So there's a slow intro and then one tempo for the rest. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, they also get to stomp their feet. So kids always rush the half note, if you will, stomping. So we do the like subdividing out loud, but I had them there's an accent on beat 2. So I think we did like right foot and then feet together for the accent, right foot and feet together to help them kind of accent one and not the other one, and then not speed up too. So anyway, Terracotta Warriors. So again, what I like about doing these multiple levels is there's just all these different sort of sweet spots where I'll use to kind of teaching in. And sometimes it's nice to hear a piece that's a little bit harder or a little bit easier than you normally listen to. This is by Richard Saucedo, former director of bands at Carmel High School. This is a grade 3+ called Song and Dance. This uses lots of mixed meters, specifically 7, a lot of like 4 followed by 3, 4 followed by 3. The climax at the end of this is like, it's like bring out your inner champion sort of moment. You hear this and you're like, yes, I can do anything in life. And the solos for flute, clarinet especially, are pretty cool. It's even funny on the recording, you hear a mistake in the tuba, like on the first, I think 3/4 measure. Like it's a little bit tricky, but and even on the recording, they miss it a little bit. So it sort of sounds like after this intro, it goes to this what do you call it?
Jazz
Like,
section.
yeah, almost it's almost like the Inspector Gadget sounding too. And then but the end is I've loved it. I've done it with honor bands, I've done it with school bands. I've had a lot of fun doing it.
That has like great opening vibe, and then it switches to that jazz section. I'm like, oh, well, that's different. And then definitely need a strong clarinet player for that, for that clarinet solo.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, here it is. Song and Dance, Richard Saucedo. A natural extension to cut time would then be something like 3/2 or 4/2. In this case, we're going to use Rosa Medre by Ray Vaughan Williams, arranged by the great Walter Beeler. Tell us what you know about this piece, Missy.
So it's a Welsh from the 3 preludes on a Welsh hymn tunes. And the piece was originally written for organ. Mm-hmm. So the melody just goes and goes and goes. So I think when teaching this with your students, teaching them about that long phrasing as you go through that. I mean, this is not something that I would necessarily program for my school, but I noted the lack of percussion parts. Mm-hmm. So it would be something, you know, in a program where you have less percussionists. You
have to have a plan for that for sure. I think it's chimes at the end, right? And there might be timpani, but you could definitely double it. But yeah, there's not enough to do. for this piece. It's an F major, and this is a piece that I always said you need a clarinet choir to do. This is not like one or two on a part. Like this really needs to be really full sounding. And to be honest with you, to be able to do a classic composer, Ralph Vaughan Williams, who actually wrote this piece. I know it's been arranged by Walter Buehler, but it's just a great opportunity, and that it's in 4/2. I mean, how often can you name other pieces that are in 4/2? I can't, So I've always loved this piece. Here's Rosa Medre, Ralph Vaughan Williams. Hope everybody's enjoyed these 9 pieces. The final pieces in 4 movements that we're going to use to close this grade 3 set. But again, this could actually work as the opener of this set too, and Song and Dance could come as the closer as well. This is Within the Castle Walls by Brian Balmages. It's a grade 3.5. Songs from the Welsh Revolution and the revolution against England. I have to kind of mention that. I think it's like the 13th century or so. This is 4 movements. The first movement, let's see, I'm trying to remember. It's almost reminds me a little bit of Longford Legend. It's very sort of contrapuntal, if you were, that's a big trumpet player word. I love that movement. The second movement is the easiest one. It's a lyric work, which is called, I think, called Over the Stone. The third one is very brass band heavy. I know there is full band, but also just brass band sections as well. And my favorite movement's the fourth movement. It's cut time. There's this great sort of like, it's, what does it say? Like as many snare drums as possible. Or it's like, wait, you want me to use more than 3 marching snare drums on a stage? Like how?
Celtic Military March. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this one is Welsh, and so is the last one too. So you have lots of Welsh representation in this set.
Wow. So I don't know if that was a good thing or not a good thing. You could decide to. So anytime you're looking for a Welsh set, use these 2 pieces.
There you go.
Or you could do one and then do it, on another concert, whatever. Again, we'll use portions of all three of these pieces. This is just such a great piece. To me, this reminds me of like a whole first suite or second suite, but written 100 years later. There's just so much to this. Good for 5 percussionists. But again, the end is just killing. So hope everybody enjoys it. Here's Within the Castle Walls, Brian Balmages.
We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.